Hey guys, I'm Andrew here, and in today's video we will be going over my top 5 movies of the legendary comedic actor Bill Murray. Bill Murray has been acting for nearly 50 years, starting his career way back in 1975 on the National Lampoon Radio Hour, alongside fellow comedy legend John Belushi. Bill Murray has had an extensive career, so it's going to be hard to narrow it down to just 5 of his movies, but alas, that's the task I assigned myself. So, without further ado, let's dive into my top 5 Bill Murray movies. At number 5, we have What About Bob? What About Bob is a dark comedy that came out in 1991 and was rated PG. It was directed by Frank Oz, who is best known for his work with the Muppets. The film stars Bill Murray as the titular Bob and Richard Dreyfuss, who you may remember from Jaws, as his therapist. The movie revolves around Murray's character, Bob Wiley, who is a mentally unstable patient of Dreyfuss's character, Dr. Leo Marvin. Bob suffers from numerous phobias and is overly reliant on his therapist, which is how he became a patient of Dr. Marvin in the first place, as Bob's last therapist couldn't take him anymore and referred him to Dr. Leo Marvin.
Listen, Leo, I'm quitting my practice for a while. I'm leaving town, and I have one patient I'd like to refer to you.
Exactly what kind of a case is it, Carswell? He's not psychotic, is he?
No, nothing like that. No, listen, his name is Bob Wiley. He pays early. He comes on time, and he just needs someone brilliant, Leo, you know.
Leo has no idea what he's getting into by taking on Bob as a patient. His life was going great as he just published a book and is about to go on a month-long vacation with his family. However, things are going to change for Dr. Marvin when Bob Wiley enters his life. Bob is not going to be able to cope with the fact of his new therapist being gone for so long. So through deceptive means, Bob figures out where Dr. Marvin is staying with his family and takes a vacation at the same spot. At the vacation home, Bob befriends Dr. Marvin's family and starts to overcome his phobias. He does all this at the expense of Dr. Marvin's peace of mind, as Leo becomes more and more unhinged as the movie progresses, to the point where Bob seems to be the sane one in their relationship.
Why'd you need to kick Bob out of the house?
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
What About Bob is a hilarious movie and truly one of Bill Murray's most underrated performances. I highly recommend you watch it if you haven't seen it yet, which there's a decent chance you haven't, as this is probably the most obscure film of his that I included on my list. At number 4, we have the 2016 Jungle Book. The Jungle Book is a classic tale that has been told many times by many different people, but only one of them stars Bill Murray. A modern remake of the Disney classic that came out in 1967. While it's not shocking that Disney remade the movie, what is shocking is it's actually pretty good, as most of the remakes have been utterly dog shite. The 2016 remake, directed by Jon Favreau, has a star-studded cast, with Scarlett Johansson as the tertiary antagonist, Kaa, Christopher Walken as the secondary antagonist, King Louie, Idris Elba as the primary antagonist, Shere Khan, Ben Kingsley as the tritagonist, Bagheera, Bill Murray as the deuteragonist, Baloo, and upcoming actor Neil Safi as the protagonist, Mowgli. Unlike a lot of the modern Disney remakes, this one is able to recapture the charm of the original, while also upping the ante of the dramatic elements of the film. I wasn't sure how confident I felt about Bill Murray being cast as Baloo before the film came out, but damn does he do a good job in the role.
Relax, kid. No need to get worked up, okay?
Where am I?
This is a cave. It's my cave. You don't remember what happened, do you?
No.
I saved your life. Yeah, I snatched you from the jaws of death, the coils of death, if you will. And lucky for you, your new favorite hero, old Blue here, just happened to be passing by. No big deal. Just tell me this. Can you climb?
If I had to recommend you watch only one of the Jungle Book movies, I would of course recommend the original. However, this is a pretty damn good remake, and I highly recommend you watch it if you haven't seen it yet. At number 3, we have Catty Shack. Catty Shack's an all-time comedy classic. This R-rated comedy came out in 1980 and was directed by Harold Ramis, who would go down as one of the all-time great comedy directors of Hollywood. The man was a true comedic genius, and it shows in Catty Shack. What makes this movie even more impressive is that it was Harold's directorial debut. Catty Shack was a box office hit and has developed a cult following over the years. The film was described by ESPN as perhaps the funniest sports movie ever made. The cast of Catty Shack is stacked with legendary comedians, as the film stars Bill Murray, Chevy Chase, Rodney Dangerfield, and Ted Knight. Bill Murray's character in the movie, Carl Spackler, is a mentally unstable groundskeeper at the Bushwood Country Club. Damn, that's twice now on this list that Bill Murray has played a mentally unstable character. Spackler is charged with the simple task of ridding the course of gophers.
And the practice green. I've got a more important job for you. I want you to kill every gopher on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're gonna lock me up and throw away the key.
Gophers! You're great, kid, not golfers. The little brown furry rodents.
We can do that.
Aye.
We don't even have to have a reason.
Do it, man.
All right, let's do the same thing, but with gophers.
Ash!
It's not my fault nobody can understand what you're saying.
However, Spackler will come to find out that taking out the gopher is easier said than done. Hilarity ensues as this crazed groundskeeper goes to war with the rodent.
I gotta get inside this dude's belt and crawl around for a few days. Who is the gopher's ally? His friend. The harmless squirrel and the friendly rabbit. I'm gonna use you two guys to do my dirty work for me. It's the gopher.
This just might be Bill Murray's funniest movie that he's done, although I wouldn't fault you for picking another one, as he's got a lot of good ones to choose from. I highly recommend you watch this movie if you haven't seen it before, and if you have seen it before, I recommend giving it a rewatch since it's probably been a minute since you've seen it. At number 2, we have Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters hardly needs an introduction, but I will do one anyway. It's a PG horror comedy that came out in 1984. The movie is directed by the iconic Ivan Reitman, who has a history of working with Bill Murray, as he also directed Meatballs and Stripes. The titular Ghostbusters are played by Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson. Ghostbusters is really the only mega IP franchise that Bill Murray has starred in. I originally was going to say acted in, but I forgot that Bill Murray had a small role in Ant-Man 3: Quantumania. But the less said about that movie, the better.
Aaron, stop! I'm trying to be whatever this is.
I don't know what to be. Tell me what to be.
I don't know, just don't be a dick.
It's too late. Look at me. I'm such a dick.
It's never too late to stop being a dick.
The fact that Ghostbusters has become such a big franchise is a testament to how strong the writing is in the first film, as the concept is pretty basic. Scientists becoming ghost exterminators is a fun premise, but there is a reason that there is only one blockbuster ghost hunting franchise, and that's because the premise in and of itself is not necessarily franchise-worthy. It's the excellent writing, directing, acting, and a killer soundtrack all coming together to make one of the best movies of all time. Too bad they were never fully able to recapture the magic of the first one, as they have made 2 decent sequels with Ghostbusters 2 and Ghostbusters Afterlife, as well as whatever the hell that shit in 2016 was. It's hard to live up to the original movie in most franchises, and so far none of the Ghostbuster movies have done it. But hey, maybe Ghostbusters Frozen Empire will be able to. Only time will tell, right? Dr. Peter Venkman is probably Bill Murray's most popular role that he's done, and with good reason. He absolutely kills it in every scene he's in, and his chemistry with his co-stars is off the charts in this film, as Murray, Aykroyd, and Ramis bounce off each other perfectly.
You know, it's just occurred to me we really haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment.
I blame myself.
So do I. Well, no sense worrying about it now.
Why worry? Each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on his back.
Yep. Let's get ready. Switch me on.
Ghostbusters is one of the all-time classics for a reason. The reason? It's so damn good. So if you somehow haven't seen the film yet, next time you go to download a movie, what you gonna install? Ghostbusters! While there's a fair argument to be made for Ghostbusters to have taken the number 1 spot, there is one film that I believe deserves it even more. And at number 1, we have Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day is my favorite Bill Murray movie, and just one of my favorite movies of all time, period. Groundhog Day is a comedic drama that came out in 1993 and was directed by Harold Ramis. Bill Murray stars alongside Andy McDowell, who's also familiar with working with Harold Ramis. Their characters are Phil Connors and Rita Hanson. The plot of the movie revolves around Phil, the weatherman, not the groundhog, having to relive the same day over and over again.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again?
This premise allows the character to explore a wide range of emotions as he tries to deal with the supernatural situation he's found himself in. During his internal stay, he gets intimately close with the town of Puxatony and falls for Rita, his charming coworker. Groundhog Day is kinda a reverse 51st Dates, whereas in that film the love interest is living the same day over and over again, but her actions are dependent on everyone else. Whereas in this movie the protagonist is living the same day over and over again, and everyone else's actions are dependent on him. This movie marks the second time on the list that Bill Murray loses his mind over a rodent.
That's it. Hey, they're chasing us. Come on, make it fun.
The film perfectly balances using its premise to overtly generate comedy and to subtly explore philosophical ideas such as the meaning of life, which would naturally come to fruition in a situation like this. Groundhog Day has a very simple premise that has been done a couple times before, but Groundhog Day's execution of the premise was done so perfectly that it has set the bar for every other film that tries the time loop concept. Groundhog Day, in fact, has become so ingrained with the premise that in other movies and shows, when a character gets stuck in a time loop, they refer to it as a Groundhog Day situation. I just adore this movie, and we'll be doing an in-depth review of the film come next Groundhog Day. I cannot recommend this movie enough, and if you haven't seen it, you better watch it come next Groundhog Day. Speaking of Groundhog's Day, we were supposed to have an early spring this year, as the groundhog Puxatony Phil did not see his shadow yesterday. Well, that's all for this video. Hope you all enjoy an early spring. If you want to help me enjoy my spring more, like this video and subscribe to my channel. This is Iron Mandrill, signing off. Have yourselves a good day. Ciao.